deserve to have the best physical, mental, spiritual. Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Hey everybody, welcome to Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. I'm your host. I'm just reading some of the things on the side of my thing here about some messages from people. I encourage you guys to ask some questions, regardless of the subject, of course. And I'll talk about anything. I was just telling Jason, my producer here before the show, that I'm getting a little irritated because there's a lot of things happening in this world today that we have no control over, which is really where hands are tied. Our hands are kind of handcuffed. And I think that the people with money and power have done a lot. This agenda, whatever agenda we're referring to, and how many years it's been in the works, and whatever the main goal is, I believe it's a depopulation agenda, which Bill Gates would actually said on a TED Talk at one point. He was bragging about how we can decrease the population. I mean, and who are you? Bill Gates. You got some money and you started Microsoft, but why does that have to do with depopulating the world? And also behind the vaccines, like when did Bill Gates become a medical professional and be responsible for vaccinations? Like, that's crazy. Unless he's putting something technical in them, which who knows? I know that I've been down some rabbit holes. I don't want to get too crazy with that. You guys would call me crazy and all that, but I've been down some rabbit holes and read some things. Yeah, clearly I know I've been caught with some things as far as like posting something on my story and someone say, hey, it's really not that true. And then I'll, have a conversation with them and they'll prove to me that whatever I posted was a lie. It was on the internet. So you can't trust what's out there. However, when there's videos and also when there's news reporting on it, now again, take it for what it's worth, but I don't trust the news anymore. But these are independent kind of journalist type of things. Like OAN is it's more of a patriotic venue with regards to a news reporting platform. But there's the big ones, the mainstream media. They are controlled by the very powerful deep state, Rockefellers. You name it. There's a lot of power and money involved in the mainstream media. I don't know. And again, this is kind of off subject, but there, long time ago during COVID, we started noticing, I noticed it too. It was like every news outlet was saying the same things, right? Okay. So, and then I saw this compilation of somebody putting something together of like hundreds of news outlets around the nation saying word for word the same message about how it's a threat to our democracy, of course, with Trump and all this. It's just all about, what they want the world to, or our nation really to hear. And that's very discouraging because, we don't know what's true and what your agenda, what your plan is. I mean, come on, like we don't have the authority or the power to do anything about what's going on. Chemtrails. I mean, I would love to get behind it and get a lot more detail on what is really happening up in the air. And I know a little bit based on what I've read, of course. Now, who knows what's true or not. I made a post, funny because I made a post about it. I saw these, one day it was really, really bad here in Jacksonville. And I shot a video of the sky and I said, this is not normal, and this stuff has got to stop, and most of the people on like Instagram, maybe Facebook or whatever that saw that would be on my side. Sometimes people say, well, I think it's more like, it's been going on for a long time. I'm like, and they would try to justify it, being nice and polite. But the threads from Instagram, that secondary Instagram part they call threads, I guess, people were bashing me. And I'm like, they call me stupid. And, I didn't realize that NFL kickers had CTE too. This is, you're so dumb, and I'm just like, whoa, like I'm concerned about this kind of stuff. And you're going to just belittle me and call me dumb. And like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I've been around on this earth for almost 54 years. I'll be 54 on Friday, but I've seen the skies, man. I've seen the sky. I've seen condensation. Okay. I know what condensation is. It comes in guys like, begins, altitude and this and that. There's all kinds of answers for it. Of course, they're justifying what they see in the sky, but that wasn't normal many years ago. even with the planes that we're flying, the same amount of planes probably many years ago. So anyways, I'm going off a rant, but I want to kind of focus on, today I'm going to talk about the importance of detoxing. Now, naturally detoxing. I'm referring to just moving and sweating and things. Our bodies are meant to repair and get rid of junk, but only if you're doing the right things to do that. Now, obviously, there's products and things like that you can do, detox products. There's a thing called a master cleanse. I've done that many times. You can't eat for a long time, so I did it for 10 days. The very first time I did it, literally no food for 10 days. All I could drink was this. It was a mixture of distilled water, lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and grade A maple syrup. All in a mixture. It was the cayenne pepper made it really. I don't like spices, so it was tough to swallow, literally. But I did it because, again, I like to challenge myself. That's another thing I think maybe that I've had some advantage of throughout my life is the fact that I don't mind challenges. I embrace them. I'm gonna once I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so, but that's the thing is like you have to understand that we're succumb to a lot of toxic things. We talk about the pesticides on the fruits. I'm hearing more now about strawberries. I don't know if I want to eat another strawberry because I don't know what's on them. They say it's the dirtiest food ever, dirtiest fruit as far as pesticides and chemicals that have been put on them. They're talking about how your farm raised fish go through a conveyor belt, just injecting vaccinations and things like that are vaccines for us. Like whether I want it or not, if I eat this fish, I'm going to get it. And I'm going to rant about these because it's happened a lot today. I've seen a lot of information on it today about these ticks. And I don't know if you guys know what's going on with Bill Gates and these little ticks that he's kind of threw together and genetically modified. And he's admitted it. He's said these things, on TV and in interviews. He's talked about it. Why? Because he wants this monopoly over Beyond Meat, I think it's called. It's fake meat. He's behind that. So he's thrown a lot of money into this company, Beyond Meat, and he's wanting to capitalize on that. So but at the expense of our health. Now, who cares about the humans and health? Because he wants to depopulate us, first off. So you see that coming. So, okay, well, it doesn't matter if they die. I'm going to make lots of money. Well, you can't make lots of money if people die. Like if you're going to depopulate the world so much that who's going to pay for this stuff? How are you going to, whatever. He's building underground bunkers now. I mean, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on in this world today. So anyways, I'm going to stick to the subject. I get on rants. I apologize. But once something comes to my mind, I just feel like I've got to share it because, again, we are the minority in a sense that we don't have control of the airplanes that are dispersing all these aluminum and barium and all these chemicals that are literally killing us. And now these ticks, and I'm gonna get into it after our quick break, and maybe some products and things like that, things that I will try, and some that I'm already trying. But the moving part, the lifting and running and exercising, the sweating and moving. Now that I've become a certified health coach, part of the things as far as the movement. They don't call it you need to exercise to lose weight. They don't call it exercise. They call it movement. All you got to do is move, and your body reacts to it in a very positive way. So, with that said, we'll watch a little quick break. We'll take a little quick break, watch a little commercial, and when we get back, we'll talk about Bill Gates. We'll talk about ticks. We'll talk about chemtrails, because I will call them chemtrails because that's what they are. So we'll get into a lot of that stuff. So here's a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
It is possible. It's different this time. I'm showing up for myself because now I know that weight isn't about effort alone. It's not just calories in, calories out. For years, the world told us it was simple. Eat less, move more, try harder. But science has shown us it's more complex than that. It's a real metabolic condition. That's where GLP-3 comes in. Powered by MBC 267, a naturally derived peptide complex discovered in salmon from the Norwegian Sea and select mushrooms. GLP-3 works with the body's own system to help manage appetite and support metabolic balance. No fighting your body, no forced outcomes, just support where it actually matters. Because when you address the real factors at play, progress feels possible. I'm becoming the best version of myself. This is me and GLP-3.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, as far as what you know and what you think, as far as what you're hearing and what's out there. But I'm telling you, I was kind of skeptical for many years about a lot of things. Like, hey, I'm just gonna stick with what I do. But ever since COVID, I just have started to notice that there's a lot bigger monopoly in the area of let's make people sick. And then let's, because you'd have to be a little naive, maybe a lot naive, to not understand what kind of plan and what things have been very obvious again to me. But with regards to like big pharma, they've always got an answer to a problem, and it wasn't after a problem started. We got to find an answer to it. They have an answer to it right after they find the problem. And that kind of makes you wonder, like these vaccines, like, well, man, they're real quick. Like in the general sense of vaccinations, yeah, they called it emergency. So we had to, it's an emergency thing. We got to take it. Yeah, I clearly we know now, unless you're naive and you've been listening to mainstream media and you believe them, we know now that the vaccinations, the COVID-19 vaccinations were not doing any good for anybody. The masks were not doing any good for anybody. It was all, and I'm telling you, Fauci, man, look out, brother. Look out. I hope that justice is served. Bill Gates, I hope that justice is served. Honestly, you guys are flirting with fire, I think. Again, I'm just getting fired up again, but what upsets me the most about this is that these people think they can do whatever they want because of their position and power, maybe the money that Bill, all these people that have high decision-making, positions in the world today that have the money to back them, it's like they will do whatever they want and they don't care. It's crazy. But, going back to the whole big pharma thing, and I've been very holistic most of my life. Yeah, I've had the cereals and the crap foods, not really realizing how bad they were until I learned more about them. But I'm a victim of eating poorly as well, and probably putting a lot of toxins in my body, whether it's alcohol, just things, just whatever. But my point is with saying that is that with regards to big pharma and everything, they have a solution for the problems that they create. That's my point, is that they have this agenda, this system where now I just saw an Ebola warning. It's like, wait, what? Now I thought it was this hantavirus. Now it's something else, or on top of the hanta. I mean, what? When does it ever end? And so you got to think about like all these diseases and think about the stats with regards to humans and how humans are dying and when the health of us as humans years ago was so much better than it is now. And you think about the introduction to all these bad foods and cigarettes even and things like that. And you start to notice diabetes, huge jumps in numbers of diabetes. Now they're talking about cholesterol being too high, but you think about 10, 20, 30 years ago, what was considered high cholesterol? A lot higher than right now, but now we have statins to kind of fix that, right? Well, I don't know if you know anything about statins, but they're not good for you. They don't do any good for you. Again, I'm not a doctor, but from what I've learned, statins are more harmful than beneficial to us. And I don't. It fits the plan. It fits the narrative very, very well. Let's tell people like fluoride in water. I just saw something today. Like what year? I think it was in the 40s or 50s maybe, where they said, drink 8 ounces or 8 glasses of water. Not ounces, 8 ounce glasses, 8 of them a day. Whatever. Drink lots of water. Okay. Well, that was around the time they started putting fluoride in the water. They told you, fluoride's good for your teeth and this and that. Well, do you guys have a different opinion about fluoride now? Fluoride is not good for you. It's just changing frogs' genders. I mean, it's crazy. It's not doing our body any good at all. I don't drink the water I drink, is hydrosonic water from my guy Tony. But he kills all that stuff in it anyways before he makes his regular water. So I'm not worried about that. But all these things, there's a pattern. If you just look deep enough, you can find patterns in this stuff. So going back to this whole detoxing thing, I think that we are even more susceptible to toxins from all areas. That's another eye-opening red flag for everybody. If you got the sky, the water, the food, everything that we consume is coming from products and things that are made by other people that have all this money and power. And you see where I'm going with it. Okay. America, we are the sickest country in the world. We're the most obese country in the world, but yeah, we're the most, profitable. We're the most, we have the most money in the world right now. I guess, I don't know. I don't do any research on that, but we are a very powerful country, but our people are very sick. They're feminizing boys now. So later on down the road, those boys will not be a threat to anybody because they'll be just feminized. Now, again, no disrespect. I'm not saying that feminism is not cool and, whatever, as far as, I get that. I understand that. But, the women in sports, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can think about these days that, again, I'm getting off subject, but I still see stuff about the boys playing in women's sports and just dominating. Like, duh. Like, how is that even, get into the Democratic side. Of course, now I'm getting political, but they're all about women's rights. But yet they're against abortion. Oh, it's pro-choice. It's this. It's all about the women and what they want to do with their. What about the baby? What about what the baby in the womb is a woman, is a girl? Where's the women right? Where's the woman's rights there? Just again, things like that. And again, I'm not going to go into abortion. It is a very touchy subject. I won't even start with that. I don't even know what my opinion is on abortion because I see both sides. I get it, but there's other stuff. The things that don't make sense, the things that make you go, it's very strange. So when you get into the detox stuff and thinking about having this, being in the area, like if I'm outside coaching, I see a bunch of clouds, chemtrails that appear to be clouds. I know that I work out a lot, so I know I'm going to be sweating, but I'll come back and I'll take some Purify, which is another product from 3 International. It's a detox product. And there's a couple more that I take as well. But you have to understand that there's now a real good reason why we need to watch out and take care of ourselves. And I'm doing a lot of research on parasite cleanses. I've been hearing a lot about parasites and how they're causing a lot of problems, cancer even. They talk about the tumor. If you get a doctor who gets a sample on the tumor, like, oh, we need to get this looked at. We need to send it to the lab. Let's take a culture. Well, once you poke a hole in that tumor that's filled with parasites, and these are doctors who are interviewed. And again, these are doctors you'd never hear of before, but they're just saying like, hey, I remember seeing a coroner doing autopsies on bodies after bodies after bodies. Now, until COVID, did this lady ever see the amount of parasites in the bodies that she was doing these autopsies on? And it just amazes me that we are inundated with so much death with regards to sickness and because of the things that we are exposed to. And the worst part about it is our hands are pretty much tied. When you talk about the air we breathe, yeah, I can't walk around. I could, I guess, walk around in an oxygen tank all day long, but that would be a little ridiculous. Clearly, that's not something you want to do. But again, going into the whole concept of aluminum and barium and all these chemicals falling down from the sky, getting in our water, drinking water, getting in our soil for the foods and the plants that we eat. You see where I'm going with that? So they're covering the entire world with this kind of stuff. And I believe it's on purpose. And so my point in saying all this is we have to take care of ourselves. We have to detox and do what we possibly can, because these powers to be, the Bill Gateses of the world, they have such a monopoly and so much control over what's happening in the world today. And we can't do anything about it. I thought Florida was the first state to ban, this chemtrails, but somebody told me during that rant of these rude people on Threads, oh well, they were saying that a certain level of things that they're supposed to ban, but they're not chemtrails anyways. They're contrails. Don't you know? You're so stupid. I'm telling you, man. I was really offended by a lot of these words that these people are using because I don't get that. I don't get that a lot. Like, I'm a nice person. I just want you to. The reason I'm so passionate about this is because it's human lives we're talking about. And so I want to do the best I can to take care of myself because of all this stuff that we're exposed to. So I take, like I said, Purify, which I have it sitting right here. So this is Purify. This is one of the detox products that I do take, and I got some information on it from 3. But it's got a lot of cool stuff, and of course you can find that on zealouswellness.com. All the information on 3 International, and they're proactive wellness supplements. They're all nutraceutical, and this one is in the PDR as well. There's a lot of them. There's 9 of our total products in there. But this Purify detoxes and cleanses 5 different organs: the liver, lungs, colon, kidneys, and skin. It supports the body's elimination organs to remove toxins, increases nutrient absorption in the body. That's a side note. Helps support a healthy weight. And then this last one is eliminates heavy metal toxins. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm talking about too. I'm taking these things. Sometimes I'll double up on days that it's really cloudy, and now the ingredients, if you know anything about some of these I don't know much about. The humic shale extract powder, I don't know much about that. Coriander leaf, dandelion root. Man, I used to eat dandelions. They were very sour as a kid. I'm like, it was like back in Washington State, of course, they were everywhere. And just being a kid, you put things in your mouth, of course. And I'm thinking, wow, I should probably do that a little bit more now, become a kid again. Kelp and apple pectin is in there as well. Chlorophyllin. That is the natural defense mechanisms in plants. If plants did not have chlorophyllin in them, the sun radiation would destroy them. So every plant has it. So actually, matter of fact, if you think about the color of these pills, they're really dark green. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're very, very dark green. Well, guess what the capsule's made out of? It's made out of chlorophyllin, okay? And what chlorophyllin does is it's water-soluble derivative of chlorophyllin that effectively binds to toxins and removes them from the body. We got liposomal milk thistle extract and burdock root, mullein leaf, and then stinging nettle leaf. Again, I don't know much about these, but I know that they're very good. Dr. Dan Gubler is our chief scientific officer that is incredibly smart and knows what he's talking about. But just to kind of, summarize and think about the things. And I want to talk about working out too, because that's a big part of my life. I'm trying to detox with nutrients and things that I can put in my body to help eliminate them. These toxins that I have no choice but to, get, again, I'm starting to shop at farmers markets now where I know that hopefully the local people are not going to, throw pesticides on all these fruits. And yeah, there might be some, but I do ask. I say, listen, what's the protocol here? How do you keep them? You throw a bunch of pesticides on them and all that, and even the beef and the chicken. Like where is it farm raised? Are they freight range? Where are they at? And I'm getting some great answers. So I'm going to be not going to the grocery store much now. There's going to be some things I'm going to need the grocery store, but I don't like that whole concept of that health food section in grocery stores, because if there's a health food section there, what does it make the rest of the store? Why isn't the whole store a health food section? I don't get it. Well, again, it comes down to money and greed, because you think about it, and even like fast food restaurants, your Taco Bells, your McDonald's, all these fast food restaurants that the food used to be so cheap. Think about McDonald's burgers, like a dollar a burger. Yeah, back then even that still was cheap, but because it's cheap because the quality is cheap. They're getting, I don't know where they're getting their beef from. That's another subject. Be careful about what you're eating at McDonald's, because there's some rumors out there that it's not just beef, it's other stuff. I'm not even going to go there. So, but just be cautious. And again, McDonald's is horrible for you. I don't know why you would ever want to eat McDonald's. Okay. But my point is that there's so many things that we're exposed to, and they're having it's all about the greed I was talking about a second ago. Is about make the products as cheap as possible with all these ingredients and things that make them last longer, so they don't lose. Again, it's all about the bottom line dollar. Where's the profit? Where's my profit margin here? How much money am I going to make when I buy these cheapest products possible to feed the humans around your cities? And it's just crazy, and so I think that there's a huge problem with greed in our country, and at the expense of our health. And the crappy foods that we have access to that are becoming addictive because they do put chemicals in our foods that make you addictive. The same people that were hired to make cigarettes addictive have also been hired to make food addictive. Do some research on Kraft. I dare you. Okay? Do some research on Kraft owns a lot of huge companies. Kraft is massive. Okay? And again, they're not very ethical because a lot of the stuff that they're putting in these foods, because again, it's bottom line dollar. Who cares? We're going to be rich and healthy. Man, when you die, you ain't taking that money with you. Yeah, your family might be set for a while, but why is it that important that people have to make so much money? You're not taking it with you. Yeah, you might live an extravagant life while you have it on Earth, but you're not taking it with you when you pass away. So I'm a very empathetic person, and it upsets me when I see and hear about people out of their control getting hurt or killed or having health problems because of all this stuff. And so we as the healthy community will say, the ones that are woken up to this stuff and eyes are wide open, because I see it. It's very obvious when you connect the dots what we're getting fed and why it's so important that we have to really be careful about what we eat these days. It wasn't like that years ago, but I think there's been a long agenda going on for a very long time, and it's more or less a depopulation agenda. It's crazy. So move, work out, sweat. That's why I say the sauna is a big deal too. Like, if you don't want to work out, just sit in the sauna. When you sweat, you're getting rid of a lot of the toxins. That's your body's way of, yes, cooling it down, but it's also getting rid of a lot of the bad things that are in your body at the same time. And then also taking products like Purify that definitely help as well. So it's incredibly important to understand your body and just know that everything that you're exposed to, whether it's food, water, air, all that, you just have to question. You have to wonder. Now, air, yeah, I'll go outside. I don't smell anything. It doesn't smell bad, but who knows? These are micro type of things. They call, with regards to microplastics. That's why I don't drink water out of plastic. I try not to put anything in plastic. Don't use the microwave. Microwave will kill you. A regular air fryer with the Teflon in it will kill you. It will make your life miserable if you use it too often. I don't use my microwave. I haven't used a microwave in years, and I know better. Okay, and so again, I'm trying to stay youthful and healthy and energetic and have longevity to my life. I don't want to die tomorrow because I'm sick because of what I'm breathing or eating or drinking. Like, these guys are trying to play God, and that's the most discouraging thing. Is like, why in the world are you doing this? And how dare you do something that's going to affect my life? We are put on this earth as equals, but these people who have more money than me and more power than me and can make decisions because they're in a position to do so, do whatever the heck they want to do. And it really upsets me. Like, why wouldn't it? I don't like being disrespected like that. That's a very disrespectful thing, and I'm a huge thing about respect. Like, I give respect where it's due. When people disrespect me, it doesn't happen very often, but I'll mouth back to you. Like, listen, that wasn't not called for. I didn't warrant that. I did nothing to deserve that. So again, it doesn't happen very often, but I'm just very passionate about trying to keep people healthy instead of having big pharma try to play the parents in saving the lives of the people that they've caused the problems with originally. That's what I'm saying. It's like we're going to cause problems, then we're going to have a solution right behind it. Okay. This Henta virus, like, do some research on that. Do the Greek word on Henta. It's like, it means scam. It means fake. That's what that word means. Henta. Look it up. Why would they call it that? Okay. That was also, if you don't know this, the symptoms from Henta are the same symptoms as a one of the many side effects from the, you know what? The COVID vaccine. Weird, right? Yeah, so there's a lot of things. If you just spend some time doing some research, and again, Google's been infiltrated, I think. I've noticed some things. I do a couple different types of searches, search engines. Google doesn't pull up a lot of the stuff that these others do, and so I think there's some manipulation going on there too. Again, think about the leaders of all these huge companies. Everyone uses Google. Well, if we can control the search results on Google, then we can keep these things hidden and squash them. You know how to do that. That's SEO stuff. There's guys that understand that, the technical side of the internet. They can squash information. It takes some time, but they can keep it away from us. And that's, I think, what they're doing. So if you're relying on your mainstream media as your source of knowledge and news, please be careful, because I don't trust it. I don't listen. I don't watch the news. I don't do any of that. I think, anything that I see that's newsworthy is on social media. And it's, sometimes most of the stuff isn't stuff that I'd see on my regular TV. It's stuff that like these, other reporters would talk about from like OAN or just, different other, Fox News even sometimes will have some things up there, but people say, oh, that's not true. And I say, well, here's the clip. You tell me what this reporter is saying. You tell me what this doctor is saying who's getting interviewed. Here it is. You tell me what you think. And once you understand and start listening to people who are making a lot more sense than the ones that don't, the people who are behind this stuff, when you hear their answers or justification for something, it sounds like crap. It's like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's just a word salad. You're just trying to protect yourself because you don't have an answer for me. Okay? And again, there's hard truth out there. Excuse me. There's hard truth, okay? There's hard truth. There's people out there letting us know what is really happening, what is good for us, and what is not. And I'm telling you, the things that we're hearing that are not good for are the majority of our food sources, our water. So everything has problems with it these days, and it's crazy. So you have to do even more to yourself, for yourself, in detoxing, getting rid of this stuff, the parasites. I'm doing some more research on that. I want to find one. I haven't done one yet, but I want to find a parasite cleanse that I trust, that I think is going to work. Because I know I eat sushi, and I've been hearing that, salmon, it's got all kinds of, yeah, I get it. I probably have a lot of parasites in me. I'm having a little issue getting rid of them, a little bit of belly fat. I'm thinking, well, I've been hearing parasites are probably part of the problem. Okay, let's try. Let's see what, again, I've been experimenting all my life with different things, like when I hear something, I'm cued into it and I learn a little bit about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to give that a shot. And, not every time is it something that actually works for me, but that's why I come up with Zealous Wellness platform. When I get the Zealous Wellness platform and you can understand some of the things that have worked really well for me, I like to display them. And some of those, a lot of them, I don't even get paid for it all. It's just something I want people to understand. Dr. Arnis is another guy that I like to I'm taking some of his products now. I trust him. I can't remember his first name, Dr. Arnis. Look him up. Very, very good. Very trustworthy in my opinion, because I've seen him interviewed about COVID. I've seen him interviewed about politics. And he and I align a lot with what we agree with. So do your homework. Understand that there are a lot of negative things out in the world today, and we just have to find ways to counter their attempt. And I'm being dead serious. I think that there's a lot of people, a lot of powerful people in this world right now that are attempting to make our lives miserable just because they can. And again, I don't know the ultimate goal behind all that, whether it's power, money. I don't know. Like, how much more money do you need? Like, wow. You got $50 billion. Like, that's not enough. Okay. So again, it's hard to swallow. It's hard to understand. It's hard to even fathom that people have become so evil I say evil, I mean evil. Like there's got to be, these people have to be evil in order to do the things they do to us because they don't care. That's what I'm saying is like these people don't give crap about us at all. And it's not cool. And so I give respect where it's due, but I'm never going to respect guys like, people like that are higher up in decision making in businesses and products that they're offering. And it's just, and they know it's not doing good for us. And it's just, it's on purpose. So you gotta take care. We have to kind of come together and take care of ourselves now because our government's not going to help us out. I don't know why the glyphosate is still a thing. They know it's killing us, with all the pesticides and stuff that they're spraying on the fruits and vegetables. Why are they letting that even continue? I don't understand that. Again, it's all about the bottom dollar, and everyone's got to watch out for whatever. But it's human lives we're talking about here, which really is the most disheartening thing about this. Is they'll do things regardless of human life. They don't care. I do. I care about myself. I care about everybody else, and I don't want people to get sick because of the things that they are doing. And I can even think of my parents, even back up in Washington State. They've been following the news. They do whatever the news says. They're just in a bubble. They just do their thing. And I'm just like, man, they eat processed foods, and well, now they're in a assisted living, so they're kind of eating the foods that are there, and even those foods aren't great. They're fried, and who knows what they're cooked in. Again, that's a profitable entity as well. So they got to cut their bottom line with regards to what they're making the food out of and where it's coming from. And so it's all about the bottom line dollar. It's crazy. So anyways, I wanted to kind of vent on that today. I know I was thinking about what I was going to kind of go over today, and I just started seeing all these things, the ticks from Bill Gates, and there's these boxes, or planes are dropping boxes in these little parachutes. And again, you can call me crazy. I see video of them. I've seen them on the ground. I've seen what's on them, like millions of ticks on them. I've seen animals covered by ticks all over. And then, of course, the guy today talking about he had face rash and everything, and he said, I can't eat red meat anymore because I'm allergic to it. I just ate red meat. Look at my face. And he said there's other issues that happen too when he eats red meat now. Why, Bill? Why? What's the purpose? I know why. Because of his fake meat. Beyond Meat. He wants us to eat lab-grown meat. Okay? If you see cell-cultured, if you're looking for beef or anything in the grocery store and it says cell-cultured on it, that is fake meat. It's made by cells in a lab. Don't buy it. Okay? There's another one, air-chilled something, chicken. That's good. Okay? Chickens have also had issues with the stuff that they're going through. Of course, when they kill them and, they're processing these chickens, they throw them through a chlorine bath with a bunch of other chemicals, and we're eating it. Okay, so I could go on forever. It's just very disheartening and very discouraging. So I hope I have impressed anybody. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I haven't caught up with my questions. What are the foundation principles of Zealous Wellness? Foundation principles really are, just to kind of have a base of platform for information on products and services that I personally believe work for me, because I've tried a lot. And Coach Carey, I see Willis. That's the thing is when I have been an NFL player for many years, 9 years when I played, and then I've been around it for a long time. And again, I get a lot of people wanting me to endorse their product and try their product, and I'm very optimistic, and I'm like the yes man. So I'll take them. But if I don't see any results or feel any results, it didn't work for me. I don't feel any different. So Zealous Wellness platform is basically for just a platform for people to kind of go to see different products and services that I believe in that have worked for me. And again, I don't own these companies. It's just the services and companies that are offering those things for us. What inspired you to become a wellness coach in the first place? Yes, my whole life I've been in sports. Thank you, Charles. My whole life I've been involved with sports, football, obviously, but I had 4 back surgeries. So with regards to what I had to do, during my football career, it was pretty painful. I was popping a lot of pills and, doing things that were, trying to keep my inflammation down. But again, from pharmaceutical stuff, which again, I don't like, but I needed them just to play. But after I retired, I got, I didn't want to be, too physical fit. I want to give my back a rest. Well, my back got worse. And I gained some weight. And so I went through a couple of these periods of times in my life, I'm trying to abbreviate here, that I got big and heavy and my back started hurting. So it's been kind of a life mission for me to, first off, stay in shape for my back, got my core, strong, and just be in shape. I feel better. Now it's more of an addiction because it was part of my life for so long. And when I retired, I'm like, the last thing I want to do is go see a gym, go in the weight room, which that didn't last too long. I started boxing a while after I retired, but been doing boxing for 14 years now, and also do F45 as well. So I'm doing a lot of things physically. And the wellness part, I want to learn more about how I can keep my body healthy and learn more about how I can live longer and have longevity and anti-aging. And I just want to share with the world what I've learned and how to do that as well. That's really my main goal. I'm just empathetic towards people who have become unhealthy, which I was a few times in my life. And I want to, stay away from the doctor. I don't want to rely on pills to keep me alive. I don't want to get to a position where things are incredibly difficult for me to just live a normal life. And so that's another huge reason why I try to stay in shape. I'm 54 right now, almost on Friday, and I just feel like I'm still in my 20s. I love it. So that's my main goal. I appreciate that question because that's really the whole premise behind this. And again, I'm not going to ever claim that I'm incredibly knowledgeable in area. I like to learn a little bit about everything, and so I don't specialize in a few things here and there, but I do know some things, and I'm just trying to portray the information that I know and help anybody who wants to listen and can understand where I'm coming from and take that leap with me, because it does take some discipline to change your life as far as your health and nutrition and fitness. Some people are so sedentary with their fitness and not very healthy eaters that they've got some work to do. I always like to tell people, of course, if they've got too much weight, if they've gone out of shape, I said, well, how long did it take you to get to where you are now? The shape that you're in now and the health that you have right now. Well, over time, and of course I get it out of them. It's been, 10 years or so. I just started over about the span of 10 years or so. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to get that off of you, but it's not going to take 10 years, but it's going to, it takes a while to do this negative, effect to your body, but it's going to take some time to become, more positive as far as your health and wellness from that point on. So again, when people commit New Year's Eve resolutions, it's funny because people don't last long. First week, second week, maybe a month, and they're it's not for me. It's too hard. I'm not like that. If I'm going to make a decision on something, I'm going to move forward to it. And again, especially if you have a friend or accountability partner, you're not going to, I don't ever want to let anybody down. So I'm not going to be the one that says, I can't do this, man. I'm sorry. No, it's usually the other person that does that. Actually, always the other person that does that with me working out. Cause I've had some partners that I've worked out with before that kind of bail out on me. And again, you're a professional athlete. No, not anymore. You have the mindset. Well, I got the mindset from being, I get that, but it's how do you want to live your life? It comes down to that. Really, it does. It's like, how do you want the rest of your life to be? Do you want to be miserable and unhealthy and out of shape and huffing and puffing to tie your shoes? That was a key for me one time. I noticed how I'm like huffing and puffing just to tie my shoes. I'm like, what? I'm not like this. This is not me. I want to be better. And so that's what I'm doing this. That's why I'm here. That's why I like to talk about health and wellness and fitness and all that, because I want others to join me, come along with me, enjoy the journey and learn from it. And it's not as hard. And once you get into the habit, that's one thing I've always talked about on these podcasts is that you have to get to the point where, it starts to, level off. It's an uphill battle for the first, part of your diet. It's an uphill battle for the first part of your workout, especially if you're out of shape or your diet's terrible at the time. Now you're getting into a better diet. It takes a lifestyle change. It takes habits. They're habitual things that you've learned over time. Well, you got to break them. So there's a lot of challenges involved in getting healthy. But again, if you commit to it and get over that hump, it's smooth sailing after that, because it becomes more of an addictive behavior. Like I feel weird if I don't work out. Now, I don't work out always on Saturdays and Sundays. I try to always on Saturdays, but Sunday, I'm off on Sunday. I don't do any workouts on Sunday. But that's the goal, is just to be as healthy and active and motivating as I possibly can. That's all I'm doing, is trying to help anybody out who's willing to listen and take some non-professional advice from me. Yes, I am a health coach now, but I'm in the beginning stages of that, so I'm still kind of learning. So with that said, I know we've gone over quite a bit today. Typically, we try to keep this around 30 minutes or so, but I hope you guys learned a little bit today. And again, I'm sorry I ranted, but I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest. And maybe, again, it only takes one person. If I've exposed this stuff to one person on here watching this, that's enough for me. I hope there's many more than that, though. But I encourage you to do your own research. I'm not like a financial advisor would say. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just saying, open the book, open the book, get on the internet. Again, be careful where you're searching these kind of things. I wouldn't recommend Google too much, but do your own research. And I hope that you understand where I'm coming from. And it's all about your life and your longevity and living a life full of health and wellness and love and appreciation and respect. That's all it is. Okay. So I hope you guys have an amazing Monday night. I don't know what's on TV tonight. I always talk about, like, the American Idol was on a couple weeks ago. That was an awesome ending to that. I don't even know what I'm watching these days on Monday night. I'll have to kind of search and look through it, but I hope you guys have an amazing Monday night, and we'll definitely see you next Monday night at 5:30 on Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. I hope you guys have an awesome evening. I love you all.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.